In this video, we're going to understand and perform reflections. This video is actually intended to be the first of 3 parts, so keep an eye out for other videos. In this one, we will specifically be performing reflections, and in the other videos, we'll be developing and connecting to how to write a reflection rule. So a reflection is a mirror image of the original figure or the pre-image. You probably have done some reflections. I remember in elementary school, I'd paint with some paint on one side of a paper, fold it over, and then it made a mirror image. That's just what we're doing on the reflection, but now we're going to do it with a graph. And another key vocabulary for reflections is that it flips over a line called the line of reflection. That line of reflection is going to be very important in determining what the new shape looks like. You can have a different answer depending on what the different line of reflection was. Here's how you reflect a shape. The first thing you do is you draw the line of reflection. So in my example here, it says reflect over x equals -1. You do need to remember what lines are and how to graph them. So remember that for x equals -1, we could make a table. We could say, well, x is always -1, and then y can be whatever it wants, and then plot those points. It would be -1, 0, -1, 1, and -1, 2. You can also just remember that y equals, if it's y equals a number, it will be horizontal, and if it's x equals a number, then that line will be vertical. So I've drawn my x equals -1 line, and this is going to be the line that this triangle ABC will flip over. Next, we're going to count how far each point of the pre-image is from the line of reflection. And I'm going to do each point individually, so we're going to do steps 2 and 3 kind of at the same time. Then we'll put each point of the image the same distance from the line of reflection, but in the opposite direction. So let's go ahead. I'm going to start with B because it's actually on the line of reflection, so it's 0 away. So that is actually, because it's 0 away, that same point is going to be my B prime. Then A is 1, 2, 3 away. So I'm going to go the opposite direction, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to put A prime. Then for C, it is also 1, 2, 3 away. So I'm going to put it 1, 2, 3 in the opposite direction, and that will be C prime. Now, you don't have to draw these little lines. You could just count it. But because you can't see my pencil moving as I count, I did that so that you could see. Then the last step is to connect all of your points to make your image. Let's look at some things that we notice about this image. The triangle is now, it's not only facing a different way, it's been flipped over. So your shape is going to look like a mirror image. I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory, but it should look like it's facing a different direction. The other thing you should notice is that these triangles are the same size. This is like a line of symmetry, it's symmetrical, everything's good. So let's go ahead and we're only going to reflect these in this video. All this other stuff down below I'll do in a different video. So we're just going to practice reflecting. Now, the x-axis is also named y equals 0. So those are interchangeable. You'll reflect them the same way. That line is this one right here. So I'm going to draw it. And then I'm going to count. A is 1 above, so I'm going to put A prime 1 below. B is 3 above, so I'm going to put B prime 3 below. C is 1 below, so I'll put C prime 1 above. And D is 2 below, so I'll put D prime 2 above. Now this is weird because the other one, the first one we did, it kind of like the whole shape flipped over and it wasn't on top of itself like this. So it can be kind of hard to tell if you did this one correctly. And let's see, did I even do this one correctly? So it might be helpful to just look at parts of the shape. So I'm going to just look at this side right here. So I'm going to look at the CD side. And does the CD side look like kind of like a butterfly, like it's symmetrical? It does. So I'm pretty sure I did those points correctly. Then I'm going to check just the AB side to see if I reflected it right. And this is AB. And yeah, that one works too. So it looks like I did this reflection properly. So now you go ahead and try this ABC. What do you think it would look like? Maybe pause for a second, copy it down on paper if you're using paper, or do the notes. So the y-axis is also known as x equals 0. So instead of reflecting over the horizontal line, it's going to reflect vertical. Now my B is over here, my B prime. My A prime will be here. And my C prime will be there. So now I'll connect everything. And this one, it's a little easier to tell, yeah, that looks like a mirror image. Okay, we're going to go over some more difficult reflections and how to write reflection rules in our next video.